And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hope the channel might take over your self-respect.
This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday. That means it is time to wrap up your weekend with the weekend wrap-up.
Hello, beautiful bell breakers.
How's it going, Bill?
It is going well.
Yeah.
Going well.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are here. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are here to kick ass and take names, and
Yes.
we're all out of names, I guess. I
That's
think
close.
I think that's
Pretty close. That's pretty close.
We're all out of all the names, so here we are to kick ass. I think so. We're here. That's what matters.
Yes.
How's everybody doing out there? We are live as always, usually Sundays, sometimes
Yeah.
Saturdays, but always on the
Depends.
weekend at some point,
Yes.
because it's the weekend wrap up. So we reserve the right to do it whenever we want
Yeah.
on
As
the
long as
weekend.
it's on the weekend, that's all really counts.
Yeah, that's really what matters. So here we are.
Yes.
We got quite a few things to cover, so we got to get right into this. But first, we got to mention our sponsor, that is Run Your Mouth Coffee. As always, Run Your Mouth Coffee supports your right to run your mouth, your right to free speech, to be able to talk shit on the social medias without being ostracized from civilization. And they also make really good coffee. They are a company, and it's hard to find these days. Like, they make a good product and they support the things that we support.
Yes.
And most of the time, most companies don't do either one of those.
Right.
They make a mediocre product and then their moral views
They shit
suck.
all over your rights. Yes.
Yes. So they're like, oh, that you'll drink it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to
Right.
be good. What else are you going to do? Well, we have an option here. It's Run Your Mouth Coffee. It's fresh coffee, fresh roasted coffee beans delivered straight to your freaking door. And that's awesome. You don't have to go to the store. You don't got to go to Starbucks and pay $6 for a cup of mediocre communist coffee.
Yeah.
I
wants that.
I would say Run Your Mouth is the furthest thing from communist coffee out there.
Definitely. Yes.
So, go
imagine
ahead.
being the poor, mediocre soul who has to live with gas station coffee and afraid to say what they really
I
think.
mean, yeah, if you don't
There's
have
people
those
out there like that.
If you like, why are we even in America if you have to put up
Exactly.
with mediocre coffee and you're not allowed to say what you want
Yes.
all over the place? So to support both of those things, you can go to rymcoffee.com, tell them that we sent you by using the promo code Break the Bell, and you'll get 10% off your purchase plus free shipping. You'll get delicious coffee. You'll support a company that supports your personal liberties, like free speech, your ability to sit here and run your mouth the way we do, like 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
So
It's nice.
do it. Go to their website, rymcoffee.com. Make sure you check out our merch store. We've got some cool t-shirt designs over there. Let me pull this shit up. We've got the new one. I told you I had it. This is the is this shirt even real, in response to our dead internet
Yes.
theory episode we did. Like, we were going back and forth, like, are we even real?
Right.
Like, do we even care if would we know if we weren't real? And so this shirt is in response. Go check out that episode. That was 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
It was a really fun
It
episode.
was a good one. Yeah.
Took a deep dive into the dead internet theory. And then we came up with this shirt design at the same time. It just popped in my head. I'm going to make a shirt about this. So here it is. Is this shirt even real? If you're listening, it's got like the Matrix type digital
Ones and
background.
zeros.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
digital Matrix code in the background, and it says, "Is the shirt even real?" So that's one option. We've also got the "I will not eat your bugs" shirt, the "We are not your pawn" shirt, and then our typical logo stuff out there. So check that out. That's you can find that on our website at breakthebellpod.com or go to breakthebell.bigcartel.com, and you'll have the opportunity to buy awesome merch and support us more than you do with your beautiful ear holes listening to us.
That's right. Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna probably have to come up with 3 or 4 more designs before Christmas to give you guys all a bunch of options for all your family members. So that is breakthebellpod.com. You'll be able to find that merch. So check it out because
You could
it's
get
awesome.
a maybe we can make like a Martha Vineyard's vacation T-shirt.
That would be fun. Anyway, on that note, let's get right into this show. We are going to talk about the Martha's Vineyard migrant meltdown out there because it's the hot topic.
Yes.
I was in Des Moines overnight, staying at a hotel, and I was eating their breakfast, and Fox News was up on their TV, and that's all it was just Martha's Vineyard and this and that, and them like in an uproar over the 50 migrants that were transported there and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is way bigger deal than it needs to be on both ends of the spectrum. It's like, yes, a bunch of people got shipped there. Yeah, that was probably a shitty thing to do. And their response is just so ironic because of, and it makes you wonder, are the people there actually responding this way, or is the right saying that the left is responding this way when in reality the people are there just like, okay, there's like 50 extra people.
You're like, you know what?
You want to come work in my pool?
We could use extra servers, so this is perfect timing.
I'm looking for a pool boy. Come help us out. Yeah, that one has surprised me. So we are going to get into that, but first we got some more important news to cover. One is this video from So I talked about the weekend you were gone a couple weeks ago. I talked about Hillary and Chelsea's TV show called, what was it called?
Was it like some
Fierce?
Yeah, there
Fierce.
Fierce.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
Like it's talking about fierce women. I think
as you say
something
that,
like
I pictured
that,
Chelsea being like, "That's so fierce."
So here's an excerpt from that because we didn't get to see a clip from it. This one says everything that you need to know about this show and Hillary Clinton. And yeah, just watch this, I guess. Hang on, let me get volume.
Chelsea follows rap music. She has ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you with the Cardi B WAP.
Did you catch that? Now, did you actually catch that? So first of all, all right, let's break this down. First, did you notice her? What the fuck's going on? Oh my God! Make it go away! Make it away! Do you know whose voice that was?
Oh yeah,
Whose voice that was?
Yes, very
Made a
much
special debut.
She's gonna appreciate that.
Yes. So first of all, let's break this video down. Can we say pandering first of all?
Yeah, I mean, where would you put this on the level with the hot sauce?
I mean, it's got to be right up there. Like, oh yeah, I love black culture. I carry hot sauce in my purse. So every time I eat fried chicken, it's like, first of all, bitch, you don't eat fried chicken.
Right.
Second of all, Chelsea has never listened to a rap album in her freaking life. She is the whitest. She's whiter than Hillary.
Yes,
and
that says a lot.
So did you notice though? What I started to say was her Southern accent was starting to really come out. It's like, yeah, Chelsea's all about that gangster.
She listened to that when she was a teenager.
Yeah. Now the real thing this is so. If you didn't know what was going on there because you're listening or you just don't fucking care, I'm going to enlighten you. Hillary was sitting down with Megan Thee Stallion to discuss.
Famous for twerking with She-Hulk.
Yeah, that and this Cardi B collaboration known as WAP or WAP
Yes,
or
which Hillary knows all about WAP.
yeah. Hillary has not experienced WAP in probably 70
or
years.
ever.
Ever, yeah. She's going to come out with a new song called DAP. I mean, yes, I get that that's the one thing that Megan Thee Stallion is most popular right now for, and you want to pander to the youngsters out there and be like, oh, I'm all cool and hip. I like the WAP. Maybe you should have had your researchers do a little bit better of a job, because I guarantee you, if she knew what that stood for, that's not true. That's not true, because
she would still.
The interview goes on.
Yeah.
And Megan Thee Stallion's like, well, male rappers have been out there like flaunting their sexuality and their sex for years and decades, and it's about time for strong women to empower their sexuality and sing about their wet.
Yeah.
You know the rest.
Hoo-has.
Yes, hoo-has indeed. But
but
do you think this like makes her more like relatable to the everyday woman by saying, I listened to, I didn't become familiar with you until your hit song WAP. Did she not sound so white when she said it too?
Right. With Cardi B.
It starts out with what was it? Whores in this house, I think it's like the first it started to say there. It's just like, I love it when we refer to women as whores in this house. It's so empowering to women.
And Bill loves that. So,
Bill was walking around singing it
all
day.
the time. and
he's always looking for WAP. I'm not sure what it is, but he's always saying he's looking for it.
And after the artist, finishes her little platform about female sexuality, Hillary doesn't say anything, but Chelsea's like, that's so fierce.
That's so brave. You're so very brave. I have a feeling, because I've heard several podcasters reporting on this in this TV show and shit, and they're like, oh, Hillary's definitely going on a run. She's preparing to run. And that's what I said a couple weeks ago. Hillary doesn't do anything that, because what I said a couple weeks ago, because they were like, we get to see like the down to earth human side of her. There is no human side. Like, everything she is doing is promoting her next endeavor. Right. Like, she is marketing herself for something. And I even said then, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Hillary is running again. But then I got to thinking, why does she need Chelsea there? I have a feeling she's propelling. She's trying to get Chelsea more in the limelight, because nobody has given two shits about Chelsea since she was a kid in the White House.
Right. She was the ugly little first girl.
Yes. Who's not even Bill's real child, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think of this?
Yeah,
do you think it's more likely that, because I think
it's pushing Chelsea.
I think Hillary
knows she's done.
She is done. She said she's done.
Yeah, but she knows that she can. It's Chelsea's turn.
It's like when Bill got out and played the saxophone on the Late Show. It's
right.
just like, you got to get out, you got to be
relatable
and whatever. And so we got to get Chelsea out in front of people and make her with the cool kids, because she listens to the rap music and she likes the WAP.
I'm sure she does.
Good God.
But I mean, and I'd been saying that for years. Actually, I felt like they were going to try to push Michelle Obama first. And then after Michelle, then it would be Chelsea's turn. And then after Chelsea, Malia's turn. So do you still think they'll push Michelle at some point?
I mean, I'm surprised because she was trending. She was polling pretty high.
Yeah.
Probably
she did that,
year ago.
Well, and I think she had like the most popular speech at the DNC.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Back in the election year. So yeah, I really thought that she was going to be making a push. She's
but the thing is, I don't think they're going to push Chelsea right towards like presidential run. They got to no.
Yes,
they got to work her in and work her up the same way as everybody else. So that still leaves room for.
Yeah, but she's young yet. She's what, in her 30s?
Oh yeah, Chelsea's probably she's probably 40. I would think she's
so?
Probably a little older than me. So that being said, what does Chelsea in office look like?
Like
do you think she
a clone of her mom?
Do you think she embraces the pantsuit?
Yes.
And the lesbian hair?
I do.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. I think yes. She is unless she has a mental break, right? Which I could see happening. She is going to be the mini me Hillary.
She already is.
Oh, I know. But that's why her sole purpose in life has been raised to be.
The fact that she would go on ultra uber feminist TV show
Yeah.
with her mother tells me everything I need to know about Chelsea.
Yeah.
So-
So I mean, again, unless Chelsea actually experiences WAP, yes, she will end up like her mom.
Gross. All right, I'm over that. Let's move on because this is much better
She's
news.
42 years old.
Much less disturbing news. Apparently mass graves were found in Ukraine.
Yes. Does
Much
that
less
surprise you?
disturbing than Hillary and her WAP.
Yeah, right.
Or her DAP.
I'll take dead bodies any day over that.
Yes. So this is from Al Jazeera. Apparently, and I feel like they're pushing to ramp something up, or they're pushing
We've
Russia
been
to
talking
ramp
about that
something
for
up.
a while.
I feel like they're pushing harder again this week, though. It's like, well, you heard how Russia kind of got beat back a little last week, and
Right.
now they're coming out with, Putin saying, "Hey, I'm in it for the long haul. I got big things in the work here. It's coming."
I saw that where his allies were like, "Oh, do you need us?" And he's like, "No, hang back. I got some things planned."
Yeah. So apparently, when they pushed back, and the Ukrainians or whatever forces started taking back over the region, they started finding these mass graves, and so they're kind of pushing this like small time Russian Holocaust type scenario to charge our emotions again. We had that at the start, like probably back in June or July. Remember we did talked about the genocide of the, like Zelensky saying they were trying to genocide everybody because they found like between 500 and 2,500 mass people in a mass grave.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to compare it to the Holocaust.
Yeah. That's exactly. They're trying to charge our emotions similar to that. So this says grim exhumations continue at mass grave in Ukraine. Says investigators searching through a mass burial site in Ukraine found evidence that some of the dead were tortured. Dressed in white protective suits and wearing rubber gloves. Why do we need this information? We have
they're trying to, like you said, they're trying to give you like this sterile view, this like cold institutional.
Yes. Or they have a minimum amount of words they got to put in an article.
What can I fill in?
It says Ukrainian emergency workers dug up more bodies from a wooded burial site in territory recently recaptured from Russian forces as townspeople look for dead relatives. Ukraine says hundreds are buried at the site discovered last week, including at least 17 Ukrainian soldiers found in a mass grave on Friday, and others who may be civilians buried in individual graves marked with flimsy wooden crosses. Who buried them?
Right. Well, at least they gave them crosses.
Yeah. Was it the Russians that put them there with the crosses, or did they, as they got killed, they just start burying each other? I don't know. There's not a ton of information out there available, so we just got to take it for what it is.
But if you were committing genocide, war crimes, what have you, would you mark the mass grave,
or would you allow the people that you're killing to mark the mass graves?
Right, exactly.
No, you want to. At least I don't.
You'd let it stay hidden for like 50 years, like the Canadians did.
Exactly. The cause of death have not been established. I'm going to go with war. War was the cause of death.
Good bet.
I mean, I'm not an expert here, but I'm going to say war. Residents say some of the graves near the town of Izium were of people who died in an air raid. Ukrainian authorities said at least one of the bodies had tied hands and rope marks on the neck. So, based on that, they're saying up here, let's see, where was it? They were saying that there was like evidence of torture. Yeah, found evidence that some of the dead had been tortured. One of the bodies had rope marks on its neck and on its hands.
Yeah.
And the other cause of death was possibly by air raid, which isn't torture. Yeah, it's shitty, but again, we're not saying that they didn't do horrible things there, but I'm saying we are taking like one minor detail and blowing that up into like evidence of torture, proof of torture.
Yeah.
Says Moscow has not commented on the discovery of the graves. It regularly denies committing atrocities in the war or targeting civilians. Obviously, they're going to deny it. They're not going to be like, yeah, we committed war crimes. Well, we tortured people.
Yeah. And plus, okay. All right. We know from our own experience in the United States and our wonderful drone usage that unfortunately civilian casualties happen.
Yeah, I'm
war.
not saying that's
it's
even,
fucking war.
I'm not
it's
even saying
war.
that's justified. Yeah.
No, it's not justified, but it's war. And like you said, it's a shitty thing to happen. But as long as there's war, there's going to be people dying.
How many civilian casualties happened in the Iraq or Afghanistan war?
Thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And how many of them were like tortured? How many known cases of torture do we know in our military?
I mean,
like we've talked about
dozen.
We've talked
Yeah.
about several cases
Yeah.
of known like examples of mistreatment and torture of, and
Yeah.
we had a freaking, we still have a prison in Guantanamo Bay specifically laid out for the torture of prisoners. So when they come out and try to charge your emotions with this and be like, well, Russians are committing torture because we have evidence of one guy that had ropes around his hands and neck. It's like, okay, and that, I mean, they're nowhere close to the shit that we've done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that justifies it.
No, but to try to get an emotional response, knowing the history of our own country is
how many
pathetic.
countries could have been pulled together to attack us because of evidence of torture in foreign wars?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying it goes both ways, guys.
Yeah.
So all this, like I said, all this Russian buildup going on, and apparently there's like speculation out there that obviously Putin might use like a directional nuclear capable, or either a small nuclear arms or a chemical warfare and shit. And so I don't know if they're just making that up because that's what our intelligence services do, or if they're basing that on the fact that Putin's like, no, we got something else up our sleeves. Don't worry.
Right.
I mean, we seen it with like Syria, where they blame Syria for chemical warfare and shit.
Yeah. Obama's line you can't cross.
And he crossed supposedly and crossed, and we didn't do anything. But here's Biden's response to whether or not Putin should use nuclear weapons. Don't.
And that's very succinct.
It is. He had another response to Russian, or like something with Russia. I can't remember, and where he's just like, no, just like, oh, okay, this is the report. His response is don't. 3 times a charm.
Sir, was that 3 don'ts or was there 4? I got lost count.
Specifically 3. Don't blow this out of context here. We don't. If you go 4, that's gonna maybe
that's like calls for war.
Yes. So it says Joe Biden has urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to not use tactical nuclear or chemical weapons after a series of military losses in Ukraine. So he's like, well, he's losing, so he might like be backed in a corner and he might just start throwing bombs out there. We've talked about that. It just doesn't seem like what he would do.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he realizes he's also playing on the World Court of Public Appeal. So he's not going to become the big bad guy.
No, he's already the big bad guy.
Yeah, and he hasn't even hardly done anything.
I mean, maybe he would be like, you're already calling me this terrorist guy. You're already calling me this genocidal maniac.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. I could see like Putin calling Biden up, and be like, hey, just want to talk to you about a couple things. He's like, whoa. Did you say nuclear war? No. Don't.
Dude, calm down, sir. Calm down. It's like anger management.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sir, calm down.
Do not raise your voice.
Do not say bomb on this plane. I didn't say bomb. I said it's not like I have a bomb. Whoa, you cannot say it.
Exactly.
Bomb. Anyways.
Yeah.
It goes on to say, asked by an American reporter with the show 60 Minutes, what he would say to Putin if he considered using it. This is such a hypothetical.
Yeah, I know.
It's like if Putin were to decide to consider using these weapons, we're not saying he is, but if he were to consider, what would your response to that be? His response was, don't. It would change the face of war unlike anything since World War II. I see how they're seeding this into the minds of the public here. It's just like, I mean, again, this is blatant hypothetical
Yeah,
question,
right,
but people are going to see this headline. They're not going to read as far as
Yeah.
even we did, and they're going to be like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
he's
Which-
proposing nuclear, like the use of nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
and oh, Biden's saying that could drag us into a world war. Oh shit, what's going on here?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we need a world
Yeah.
war if he's proposing nuclear weapons."
Hypothetically, sir, do you think what do you think if Russia uses nuclear weapons? Oh, you don't. And what do you think if they decide to take over the moon and Mars?
Definitely don't do that either. Oh, did you see China found like some rare freaking mineral on the moon?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah. Sounds like the moon needs our freedom.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, some rare thing. And it could potentially be used for some kind of like energy.
Oh, okay. I did see it was a crystal, but I didn't know it was on the moon.
I think it was
So
the moon.
I just
yeah.
perused the headlines, and I saw that they found a rare crystal that with like huge energy potential, and I was like, I kind of rolled my eyes and went on, and
Is it
then
like what Iron Man has on his freaking
Yeah,
chest?
exactly.
Yeah, there's going to be moon war now.
Yeah,
That's why
yes.
that's why Trump
That's why
started
we
the
got
Space Force.
Yes, the Space Force.
I mean, he saw this coming.
yes,
4D chess. We never give him enough credit. The guy
Exactly.
saw this coming.
yes,
You know, all the fact was to exploit space the way
yeah.
that we've exploited everything else. It's not for scientific research. It's just
No.
like, let's exploit it for money.
exactly.
If there's aliens, we'll make them slaves and shit. I mean, you can't have like human rights abuses against non-human entities,
Right?
can you?
Exactly.
So we'll have the aliens mine our freaking energy crystals
Yes.
up there, and that's going to turn out great. So what do you think of this freaking nuclear war shit?
It's so dumb. It just again, it sounds like they're trying to bait a hook, and like you said, set the stage.
Yeah.
And so, but then it's like, okay, if a false flag does happen, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you sit there and like I said, seed the public's mindset that, hey, this could be an option, even though I don't think the man's ever
No.
said,
No.
utter the words.
Yeah.
I think even his like military, like top military advisors, like, no, this is going to
Yeah.
be all conventional. We're
Right.
only using conventional weapons.
Yeah.
Conventional.
Don't
He said
take the
conventional.
bit. Don't take
Yes.
the.
He said conventional weapons like 6 times, and they're like, so you're saying there's a chance you could use
Yeah, right.
conventional? Read my lips.
He's like,
Conventional.
1,000,000,001. So you're
You're
still
telling-
saying there's a chance?
Telling me there's a chance. Yes. So it's all just about like the fear porn, and then like you said, if they were to
Right, and that's reaching, but you
pull
know,
off some false flag, they could be like, well, we told you he was
Yeah.
planning these new, and he's like, guys, I told you we weren't.
Yeah.
Nope. Remember all those headlines? I mean, it's just like, I hate to use the word grooming because it's used in so many other ways right now, but it is grooming the public perception of what's going on here to just, throw this in their face over and over and over, like kind of like with the terrorist attack, like leading up to the terrorist attacks. Like I said last week on our 9/11 episode, I knew it was Osama bin Laden before they came out and even said it was a terrorist. As a 15-year-old, because they had just repeated that since the USS Cole bombing, repeated that Osama bin Laden's out to get the United States. So when it happened, it's like, oh, that has to be Osama bin Laden.
Well, but on the other side of that, it's like if it doesn't happen, they'll be like, well, Biden told him don't do it,
and he didn't,
and he didn't. So that
was
shows the strength of our president.
That third don't.
Yep.
That was the strength we needed.
Yep.
So let's move on to the stupidity in this meltdown in Martha's Vineyard, because this
is awesome.
This shouldn't even merit us talking about. I'm more talking about the stupid response to it, because it's the fact that it's being so politicized. It's like, again, these are fucking people.
Yeah.
And for how many decades now have we been exploiting these people for political purposes? Not for, for their cheap labor too, but mostly on the political stage. Like, oh, look at the immigrants, they're in cages. Then the next president comes in, it's like, oh, we're going to put them in these nice little rooms, like chain link rooms. And it's like, hey, they're still in the same fucking cages. Oh, well, we're going to, oh, did you see they're sending them back to Mexico? Like, like deporting them back
Yeah.
to Mexico, and then
Shows
5
them
minutes
in
later, it's like,
handcuffs.
you guys need to stay in Mexico. Do not come here. And it's just the
Yeah.
back and forth bullshit nonsense of it.
Well, and there was one headline. Maybe it was you that said something, or I don't know, but it was like nobody says anything about the 60 immigrants that died in the back of a truck. But
All right.
they're all concerned about 50 going to
Martha's
Yeah.
Vineyard. Well, you got to realize Martha's Vineyard is like
Oh yeah, no, that's rich people
It's
town right there.
super uber rich. You got the likes of like Meg Ryan living up
Right.
there. You got, I mean, she's
I was gonna say she's
relevant
still
now.
relevant.
You've got the Clintons have a home. The Obamas
Oh.
have a home up
Yeah.
there. I mean, Rosie O'Donnell it's like all the washed up
Yeah,
rich people that just want to die rich and
Yeah.
not really associate with the commoners anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna move to an island and we're gonna hang out on this island, and you poor folk can't come
Yeah.
to this island. I had read a thing. I don't know if it's true, but you had to basically give to get on the ferry to Martha's Vineyard. You had to like give like proof of income or something like that.
Oh,
like you're
really?
to prove that you're rich enough. I don't know
Wow.
how true that is, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't fucking surprise me. So the story is that Florida's governor DeSantis, he's made the headlines. He's making waves because he's going to run
He's
for
got a
office.
big run coming
He's
up.
definitely going to run
Yeah.
for president. I know it. With all these waves he's making, he's trying to suck in the Trumpsters.
Yeah.
With this one specifically,
Right.
because you remember Trump's whole run right at the beginning was the immigrant stuff,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
that's
the
what got
wall was like the big thing.
well, that's what got
about.
the target on his head
Right.
for racism was
Right.
speaking out against the immigrants. And so now DeSantis, instead of distancing himself from Trump, this is the platform he's running on, it
Yeah.
sounds like. So he decides, him and I think Arizona they're just like shipping
Oh, and
immigrants.
Abbott from Texas.
Yeah, they're shipping immigrants across the country to these quote unquote sanctuary states. Now, I don't know what your take is on this, but I do feel that shipping people to other states for political purposes is like
dumb.
kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But here's a list of I have a list of sanctuary states. So I mean, these people can bitch all they want, but these are people that are states that decided that we are going to go against whatever the federal law is,
Mhm.
and we're going to take in immigrants in our sanctuary cities and states. So the states are California, Colorado, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, and Vermont.
The usuals.
Yeah, the usual lefty places. The cities, you've got a ton. Like California, you've got like LA, obviously, Los Angeles, Monterey County, Napa County, Oakland, Riverside County, Sacramento County, San Francisco is obviously on there.
Of course.
Florida has Alachua County. I'm surprised Florida has any.
All right.
Hartford, Connecticut, Iowa City is one. I did not know that.
Doesn't surprise me.
Illinois has Chicago and Cook County, which is Chicago. New Orleans is on there. Let's see. Massachusetts does not list Martha's Vineyard as one, but their state, Massachusetts state, is on
a
that
sanctuary,
list.
yeah.
So the state wants to be on it, but not here though. No, we want to bring in the immigrants, but not in our area right here. So let me read this one about DeSantis, because it says Florida Governor DeSantis sends 2 plane loads of illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, which was a total of about 50. I mean, that sounds like a lot, but
Small planes.
from what I've heard, it's 50. Says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis promised he would send illegal immigrants to progressive sanctuary cities earlier this summer. And now, according to Fox News, he's fulfilling that promise. DeSantis shipped 2 planes of immigrants to Martha's Vineyard on Wednesday this week. According to Fox News, who posted video of the migrants getting off the planes at Martha's Vineyard Airport in Massachusetts. A statement from the governor's office said, yes, Florida can confirm the 2 planes with illegal immigrants that arrived in Martha's Vineyard today were part of the state's relocation program to transport illegal immigrants to sanctuary destinations. A spokeswoman for DeSantis continues, states like Massachusetts, New York, and California will better facilitate the care of these individuals who they have invited into our country by incentivizing illegal immigration through their designation as sanctuary states and support for the Biden administration's open border policies. So what's your take so far?
Again, it sounds like he's just being a dick.
It does, but can you blame him when...
Well, so
let's see, your state is like completely opposed to illegal immigration,
Right.
but the federal government says, no, we're going to just allow this
Yeah.
to keep going. And it's just draining
Well,
your fucking state.
And here's the other one. And here's the other part of it is that, yes, your state is the state on the border.
Uh-huh.
So your state is like the first line, right? So anybody who comes into the country they're going to come to California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Florida.
Right.
And so, I mean, so their choice is they can either just keep them at the border, right, and deal with that, or they can let them into their state and deal with that.
Yeah. Or
They
to
can
another
send them to a state that says, no, we want them. Send
Yeah.
them here. And he's like, all right.
Now, you had found an article that said that New York City themselves,
Yeah.
who is a
Sanctuary city.
self-described sanctuary
Yeah.
state, and they are getting like shipments and
Yeah,
shipments
this
and
was
shipments.
a couple days ago. Yeah, the mayor said that we're at our breaking point. They said that they've gotten 11,000 in the last couple months.
However, they don't care that Texas and Arizona and Florida has been at their breaking point for what, years now?
Right.
I mean, we talked about the situation at the border. Like right after the election, I think it was before last summer. We're like, this is going to get to summertime, and you're going to have a lot of dead Mexicans in the desert because
absolutely.
there was just hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
of people just stuck at the
and,
border.
Yeah, it sounded like they didn't have the resources.
And that was when Kamala Harris refused to visit the border, even though she was like the immigration
Right.
czar.
Yeah, and she went to like the wrong place.
Yes. So again, like New York doesn't have the resources, even though they're the ones inviting them in. This I think it's a Democrat representative, Keating. I'm guessing he's from Massachusetts, is saying that Martha's Vineyard is very small and doesn't have the resources. You keep getting this like across the board, the same people, the same states that are like, you know what, we should have them in, and we should be. Then they turn around and they're like, oh, we don't have the resources to take care of them. You guys should keep them down there and take care of them because fuck your resources.
Right.
Like I just don't understand what they want then.
Yeah.
No, I and again, these are human people.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you support immigration, open borders, closed borders, the wall, I don't care. These are fucking human people that are just getting stuck on a plane.
Right.
It's just like,
Well,
you know what? Go over there.
And they're political pawns.
Yeah,
right.
that's all it is. Because I don't know that DeSantis really gives two shits about any
doubt
of the
it.
immigrants.
Right.
It's just, it'd really charge up my base if I just send these to
Oh,
New
yeah.
York City.
Well,
or
yeah,
Martha's
take that,
Vineyard.
liberals.
Yeah. Now, was he thinking I'm going to send these to people to Martha's Vineyard and they're going to be accept them with open arms? No, he did it to piss them off.
Oh, yeah, right.
Which
It's like, who
is
cares what happens to them? It's their problem.
it's a ballsy move, though. It's kind of a
It is
ballsy
ballsy.
move considering
And-
who's
yeah.
there.
And the dickish side of me is like, yeah, that's funny. You know?
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But again, when you think about the bigger picture of it, they're just political pawns who are trying to make a better have been manipulated to try to get to the border, or they're trying to make a better life for themselves and their families,
Mhm.
and they're being kicked around like a football.
That's all it is, and nobody wants to own up to it.
No.
No administration will actually come up with some actual border policy, immigration policy. All they want to do is say, man, they're racist, or man, they're just having everybody into.
And not to, okay, I'm not giving Biden credit with this, okay, but he's right in the fact that the problem stems from the governments in South America and Central America.
Mhm.
Now, sending Kamala Harris to deal with it is not taking the problem seriously, but there are real issues that need to be taken care of in those countries.
Yeah.
And
but going to the countries that the corruption of those countries is the reason for the immigration policy, and saying, will you please stop being corrupt?
Right.
What does that fucking
We'll
do?
give you $5 billion if you promise not to be corrupt anymore.
Yeah.
We're like, okay.
yeah. We promise we'll spend it on our people here. Yeah.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
just the way
Yeah.
we handle things. Like,
Yeah.
let's just throw money over there,
Yeah.
and that's
that'll
gonna
help
fix
it. Right.
the corruption over there.
Yeah.
And that's
And-
half of the immigration problems in like at least Europe and stuff are because of us.
Oh yeah.
Blowing shit up that we shouldn't. The immigration problem here is because different, like Venezuela is a shithole.
Right.
Sorry to talk like Donald Trump.
Guatemala.
I mean,
Yeah, all of them are down there, like you said, are corrupt.
You get corrupt governments, and then the people are starving. They got to go somewhere. Is that the people's fault? No.
Yeah. And to send the Ellen DeGeneres of the political world down there to try to negotiate with them.
That's giving her a lot of credit,
that is, you're right. I couldn't think of a joke. Rosie O'Donnell.
There you go.
There you go.
Better.
Of the political world down there to deal with them. I mean, he's just not taking that's busy work. He's not taking it serious, and it's not solving anything, and it's just really stalling.
So what do you think of the Martha's Vineyard responses? Because apparently Massachusetts activated the National Guard within
I think that's
a day.
Ridiculous.
They couldn't take care of 50 immigrants for a day, and they're the ones.
Yeah.
I mean, all those ritzy people are the type that are saying, yeah, let them all in, but it's just not here.
Yeah.
Just not. We want this nice and fresh and rich here.
Yeah. You know what if they had any sense is with their resources, because as a collective, yes, maybe not, but as a people, like individual, they're so fucking rich they can do whatever they want.
They've got so much fucking property.
So what they should do is be like, let's show them how it's done.
Jackie O had, I mean, she's not alive now, but she had 300 acres on Martha's Vineyard, which is probably like 500 acres total. It's just like they all have like probably at least 15, 20 acres. It's like you can't just let them camp out on your lawn or something. You've got enough room
they
there.
Can be like, you know what? Let's this house has been empty for the last 5 years.
Well, that's the other thing. These are like summer homes. They're only occupied like 3 months out of the freaking year.
We got this. We'll put them up. We'll take care of them. We'll find them jobs. We'll help them get their and like show them how it's done, and then be like, what? Now what? Right?
Yeah, but it's like terror. It's like terror.
Oh,
There's all these brown folks show up. It's like, what do we do? There's these poor people. Is it contagious? Like, what happens?
So some of the memes and
they
gifs
start
have
putting
been
on
hilarious.
masks and shit.
Yeah, right.
So this is from Zero Hedge. It says Massachusetts governor activated the National Guard and sends Martha's Vineyard illegal immigrants to a military base. That's the best they could come up with. The Massachusetts governor office announced Friday that dozens of illegal immigrants who were transported to Martha's Vineyard will be taken to a military base in Cape Cod, while some members of the National Guard will be activated. As Jack Phillips reports through the Epoch Times, the move comes as video footage and photos show illegal aliens of mostly Venezuelan descent being transported on several buses from St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Martha's Vineyard, a Massachusetts island that is popular among the rich and powerful Democrats. It says Governor Charlie Baker's office announced Friday that it's going to mobilize 125 members of the National Guard and said families and individuals will be housed at the Joint Base Cape Cod. We are grateful to the providers, volunteers, and local officials that stepped up on Martha's Vineyard over the past few days to provide immediate service to these individuals. They're acting like this is a freaking state of emergency. Like, we're so thankful to everybody who stepped up. We joined forces and we took a. What about the state? They refused to call it a state of emergency at the border when there was hundreds of thousands. Like we're talking like 200,000 a month. I think that was flooding across. Yeah. And remember, Kamala and Biden's administration were like, "No, it's not. It's not an emergency. It's not a crisis."
Yeah, right.
But 50 show up in Martha's Vineyard, and they're like, "Oh my God, activate the National Guard." Thanks to all the volunteers that stepped up. Yes, somebody should step up and take care of these people. I get it, but it's not a crisis, folks.
Yeah.
You got the resource. They could walk around and take up a collection and be like, "Hey, what's the loose change in your couch right now?" Because they probably, each of them probably has like a $1,000
put them in a hotel for a month.
Right. Exactly. I mean, those people are all about the high taxes for
Yeah.
social programs. It's like walk around and take like 1% of each of their income from the week, and they can support those people for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's just ironic how they're like, oh, we just don't know what to do with the resources and shit. But definitely open borders. That's cool. That's cool.
Right.
As long as those states down there, we're fine. But definitely open borders. So I had a response by Hillary Clinton to all this
Yeah,
because
I love this.
I mean, it's not enough to have one Hillary Clinton video. We have to have
Of
two
course.
Hillary Clinton
This is a
videos
special
in
treat.
one episode. So here's Hillary Clinton's response.
You have laid out the craziness of the time in which we're living, where some politicians would rather not only have an issue, but exacerbate it to the extent of literally human trafficking, as you said. And so many other Americans, I happen
Literally human trafficking. I guess a case could be made, but to come out of the mouth of Hillary Clinton, whose work in Haiti like led to so much human trafficking, maybe not directly, but like at least a lot of the shit that went down from her Haiti project turned into human trafficking. And the part that pisses me off the most is her freaking stupid mug while she's talking about this guy is literally human trafficking, and she's got the biggest smile on her face.
Would rather not only have an issue, but exacerbate it to the extent of literally human trafficking.
If you were accusing somebody, if you thought a political opponent, a political like cohort was involved in human trafficking, is that the face you would make when you're talking about it?
No, you'd be horrified. You'd be pissed.
Yeah, you'd be like raving
but
lunatic.
she's like maybe
Alex
it's the
Jones.
Botox. I don't know.
But no, she's like more smiley now than normal. Like she is excited to use these words against Ron DeSantis. She's like,
it's like she's thinking of WAP.
Yes. Oh, gross. Yeah, she's like, I this is gonna be a good one. I can't wait to use this one on him. They accuse me of it all the time, so it's about damn time I get to use it against them. Literal human trafficking. And she's like big old smirk and smile on her face. And that just, again, goes back to what I was saying about Hillary and how every time she's in the media's face, it is for political motives. It's for some sort of self like glorification or something, or some kind of political boost.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's taking down the Republicans a peg to accuse them of literal human trafficking. And this is just like exciting for her.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he's doing it is exciting for her, because she gets like, she'd be upset if he didn't do it, because then she wouldn't have something to slam in his face. The fact that that he did, she's like, oh, I get, this is a good one. Thanks. You gave me material here.
Right.
It's like the 24-hour news.
I'm surprised she doesn't have Chelsea out there spilling that.
I'm surprised too, but I don't know. I want to hear what else she says. Let's listen.
As you said. And so many other Americans, I happen to believe still the majority of Americans are good-hearted and generous. And when people end up on their doorstep in need, they're going to respond. They're going to feed them and house them. And the kids in the AP.
You have a house there, Hillary. Are you housing them? Are you feeding them? I mean, are there immigrants living in your home right now? That's what I want to know. If you want to come out here and be like, oh, these generous Americans, when they're on their doorstep, you got a house right fucking there. You're going to like put your money where your mouth is there, your Botox smiley mouth there.
It is kind of creepy.
For her to, I mean, it pisses me off to the point where I want to smile really large, like Hillary Clinton. But it's just like so hypocritical for these people to come out and be kind of outraged over these moves. And you think they just be like, yeah, we are humanitarians and we do have collective wealth here. Yeah, sure. We'll hook them up in our pool house or something. You know, it's just like, if you are really about the things that you're saying you're about, which is this humanitarian thing, like we have to take them in. It's like, you guys have so many more resources than the taxpayers that you're trying to put this on, than the Floridians or the people of Texas. It's like, you got the money.
Yeah.
Just do something about it.
Yeah.
A little more.
Spanish class are going to be let out of high school so they could go and translate. You know, that's the kind of American spirit that we try to celebrate at the Clinton Global Initiative. Let's roll up our sleeves and get.
There it is. There it is.
Yep.
We had to end it with a commercial break.
Yes.
She couldn't just say, that's how we are as Americans.
Yeah.
She had to tag it.
The Clinton.
The Clinton here at the Clinton Global Initiative.
Yeah.
You couldn't. You got to be selling a product. That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's like anytime she's on, she's selling herself.
Yeah.
She is the biggest whore.
Yeah.
She is selling herself.
is.
She's selling her WAP, and it's just like she can't just have some kind of political opinion. It's
Right.
got to come back on her. It's just like here at the Clinton Global Initiative. So what are you doing there? Are you there in Martha's Vineyard,
Right.
like helping them out,
Oh, no.
is the Clinton Global Initiative? Are they down in Florida taking people in and helping them out?
Are they at the border? Are they helping people, kind of get acclimated at the border?
I don't know what the
No,
fuck they're
fuck
doing. I don't
no.
even know what they
They're
do.
trying to
anymore.
take over Haiti.
Yeah, they're too busy in Haiti and
Human trafficking.
exactly. So I don't know. Final thoughts on that one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna get even more ridiculous. I see lawsuits. I just think it's really gonna blow up. You're gonna see media people on the ground in Martha's Vineyard just talking about how horrible it is, and
At least for 4 or 5 days.
oh yeah, right. Until there's something else to talk about.
I had the plain one too. We got to move away from this because
Yeah.
we're about out of time. There was
Ejection seat.
the ejection seat. Let me find that. I don't know what happened to it. It was here. Let me pull it up. Sorry, bear with me. If you're still listening, bear with me. But yeah, anytime Hillary's face, like she's been too much in the public lately. So it does tell me either political run or a Chelsea something or something Clinton is going to get involved here pretty quick because she had kind of disappeared for a while.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, here's Hillary Clinton on Apple TV, which is
She's like that family member that, when she shows up, she needs you help move or something like that. It's like, okay, what do you want?
Yeah, it's like, things are good. I'm starting a business. I was like, here it comes.
Yep, exactly.
Here it comes. I'd like to know if you want to get on the groundworks of my business.
Right. I just need $500.
So
and
you're
this is gonna
asking
soar.
me for money. No, I'm asking you to
This is
invest
for
in
you.
your future.
This is for you.
I'm asking you to invest in your
Yeah.
future. Yeah, that's what every time Hillary walks, comes in and she starts talking, it's like, all right, what you selling? Just bypass the bullshit and just let's get straight to the point.
Yeah.
You could have just come on and been like, this show is sponsored by the Clinton Initiative, Global Initiative. And I would have been fine with that. It's just like, okay, you're doing your commercial.
She needs to come out Hillary's hot sauce, right?
Yes.
It's the WAP for the soul.
Oh, God. Stop saying that. Just stop. Just quit. Again, less tragic, disgusting news. An F-16 pilot died because his ejection seat may have been counterfeit.
How does
What
that
the
work?
hell is a counterfeit ejection seat? What
Yeah.
are they getting, like wish.com ejection parts?
Yeah, don't get your ejection seats from China.
No, anything military related shouldn't come from China, our sworn enemy. That just seems counterproductive, but we probably get a lot of it from China. Says an Air Force investigation of a fatal fighter jet crash in 2020 quietly discovered that key components of the pilot's ejection seat may have been counterfeit. They're like, oh, it's a little cheaper. What are the odds he's going to actually need this?
Nobody ever does this.
Nobody. I mean, these are great for movies, but nobody's ever had to use this. So we just put a couple fake buttons and flashy lights on it, and everything will be cool.
Yeah, we put a little sticker that said, pull, and
Yes, exactly.
we didn't expect it to come off.
Says First Lieutenant David Schmitz, an F-16 fighter Falcon pilot at South Carolina's Shaw Air Force Base, died June 30th of 2020 when his ejection seat malfunctioned as he tried to escape from a failed nighttime landing. He was 32. The Air Force official inquiry in the months following the accident found the electronics inside the seat were scratched, unevenly sanded, and showed otherwise shoddy craftsmanship. So what were they, just like ghetto rigged up?
That's what it sounds like.
They're just like, oh yeah, you don't need to hire somebody to put this in. I can do this. I got a grinder. I've got a welder, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Everybody does this. It's okay.
says that raised red flags at the Air Force Research Lab, which called for a closer look to confirm whether the pieces were fraudulent, according to previously unreported slides provided to the Air Force Times. It was probably like they had parts to another style of seat and it didn't fit in that jet, and they're like, we're just gonna like sand this down a little and we're gonna make it fit.
It should be okay.
It's the military for you.
Like
the
you said,
fact is though,
nobody does
it's the Air Force, so they have all the money. If it was the Marines, I'd say fuck yeah.
Right.
I remember retrofitting a bunch of radios and like to fit into these Humvees, we had to, I mean, it was a nightmare just to make them fit in these old Humvees. We had to like kind of create our own brackets to mount them instead of ordering the brackets that go with it.
Right. Yeah.
But not the Air Force, I want to think. Says while the Air Force suspected parts of the seat were counterfeit, it buried the information in a non-public section of its accident investigation report. Those details have come to light in a federal civil lawsuit filed by Schmidt's widow, Valerie, who is suing 3 defense companies for negligence. You want to know what the companies are that she's suing?
I do.
It is, where to go? Lockheed Martin.
The usual.
Collins Aerospace.
Wow.
Local here in town, which builds the ACES 2 ejection seat installed on planes across the Air Force, and multiple business units of Teledyne Technologies, which make the seat's digital recovery sequencer. So suing all of them to get answers, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if there are counterfeit parts, then they probably didn't come from those companies. They probably came from Wish.com. So they should really be suing Wish.com.
That's coming. That's coming.
A sequencer is supposed to execute the steps of the ejection process when triggered in an emergency. Teledyne's product is used in ejection seats on the F-15, F-16, 22, and 117 fighter jets, and the A-10 plane, B-1, and B-2 bombers around the world. So a bunch of fucking planes is all they had to say.
That's a lot.
In Schmitz's case, the ejection seat shot 130 feet into the air, but failed to deploy its parachute. The airman hit the ground about 7 seconds later while still strapped to his seat. He died on impact. So the ejection seat did what it was supposed to. Yeah. It's the parachute that didn't do what so he definitely ejected. You can't say he didn't eject. He ejected really hard. The public version of the Air Force official report released in 2020 blamed the mishap on how Schmitz mishandled his descent into Shaw, as well as his supervisor's suggestion to try a tail hook landing instead of telling Schmitz to eject earlier. So they're blaming everything else. Yeah,
of course, and that's typical.
He probably was mishandling it when he was coming in for a landing, hence the need to eject. There was probably some reason.
Yeah.
But the fact that things didn't work the way they were supposed to in that event has nothing to do with what he was doing at the time.
And to be like, well, we told him to do a tail hook landing instead of hitting eject, and he didn't listen, so he mishandled it. And be like, no.
He shouldn't have ejected in the first place.
Exactly.
Says what ultimately killed him was the ejection seat failure. Says, I think that's the lawyer. It has only one job, and that's to get the pilot out into the ground, or get the pilot out and to get a parachute out. The public accident report acknowledged that the sequencer malfunction contributed to Schmitz's death, but did not offer further details. According to the Air Force Research Lab slides dated August 3rd of 2020, the service suspected that several transistors and microchips inside the sequencer were fake.
Oh, shit.
So,
oh, damn.
Some key components here. I mean, there has been a microchip shortage for a while now, so let's just glue on.
Yeah, be like,
glue on some fake ones.
We promised them 50 planes. I know these last 3 don't have the real shit, but
what are the odds that the 3 out of the 5,000
are going to be the ones that need it?
Yeah, they're like, let's just put some Sharpie on here, glue on some microchips, like fake microchips. We're good. It says Valerie's legal team obtained the slides through a FOIA request. His own fucking widow had to file a FOIA request to get the information that there was fake microchips and transistors in your ejection seat.
So why not?
Maybe that's why they're insistent on no, don't eject. Let's try this.
Whatever you do the tail hook.
Yeah, it's
if
like
that doesn't work, look for some snow.
Some water. I don't know, something soft.
Yeah.
No, Let's. No, you sure you can't do the tail hook?
Yeah.
You don't
You
want
wanna-
to do
oh
this.
fuck, he hit the eject.
Says 6 transistors had no conformal coating, were heavily gouged, had arcing scratch marks, were considered obsolete, and were suspected of being counterfeit. I mean, did they have the scratches because the thing like crashed from
Right.
like 70 feet in the air? But it sounds like they didn't have like the typical like coating on
Right.
it. It had like
Sounds-
obsolete parts
yeah.
on it.
It sounds like it was just kind of patched together.
A capacitor that may have been damaged while it was handled was partially dislodged. Well, yeah, again, it
Right.
fell, but
But don't you think? I mean, and I don't know. Okay, but don't you think that's typically something they would do a check of?
yeah, you would think
Right before somebody goes out to do combat or whatever.
Yeah,
or-
I would think that they would do a QC on
let's-
every single freaking one of
Let's
those.
check the ejection seat, guys.
Yeah, I feel like quality and control in this situation shouldn't be like, hey, let's test 1 in 10 of these.
Right.
No, it should be like,
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
now that one,
Right.
now like
Yeah.
you should test everyone,
Yes,
not
yeah.
just 1 in 5 or whatever, because
Yeah.
then a couple
Now-
of them get missed.
Now like the maybe like the FM AM radio.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe do 1 in 10, but the ejection seat I would say do every one.
Yeah, I'd say probably. Says the lab also found signs that Teledyne had destroyed evidence related to the case.
Jeez.
Teledyne appeared to have replaced 5 microchips on the sequencer before sending it to the lab. Teledyne had removed the printed wiring board from the DRS housing and mounted the board to a test fixture. The Teledyne had cut the leads on channel number 2's parallel flash memory chip to facilitate chip removal. Sounds like they're going to be in some deep shit here.
Yeah.
And not even if it wasn't Teledyne's fault, even if it's just like, oops, they
The fact
fucked
they
up.
covered up.
Yeah, you're
Right.
in some deep shit here. The fact that you tried like replacing it with oh, these look bad. Can you put on good ones really fast?
Yeah, right.
Says still the lab said it wasn't sure whether any of those parts caused the ejection seat to fail. It doesn't even fucking matter.
Right.
If you have counterfeit parts in the thing,
Yeah.
just own up to it. Just
Yeah,
be like,
exactly.
okay, it was probably our fault.
Yeah, right.
The parts are strictly considered suspect at the time. Destructive analysis on the components and analysis of components on other boards would be required to provide a higher level of confidence in whether or not they are counterfeit. So, I mean, this goes on, but still. Apparently, counterfeiting has plagued the Pentagon's supply chain for decades.
What?
And contractors are often unaware they are providing faulty materials.
What?
Do you know how much the DoD spends on the stuff that they buy?
Right. Yes.
Like 10 times more than they
Yeah.
should have to.
Yes.
Like I
yes.
remember going through supply chains and like I'd find a part like something we needed on like online for like $20 and I'm like, no, that's not a verified source. You go there, it's like $250. It's
Right.
like, are you fucking kidding me? This is
Right.
what we're spending our money on. And apparently they get counterfeit parts most of the time. So they're overpaying for shittier parts.
Yeah.
That's the government efficiency
Right.
for
yeah,
you.
Exactly.
This is why we should put the government in charge of more things.
Right. Exactly. Wow.
That's all I got on this one.
That just pisses me off, to be honest.
But what pisses you off more? The counterfeit parts on this.
All of
Hillary
it.
Clinton and her pandering to the black culture by saying that she's into rap music. Because
That's
of-
just funny to me.
it's
So-
funny, but it's like stupid.
Well, but does anybody buy it anymore? Do you think anybody sees that and be like, "Wow,
I can't
Hillary
imagine.
is a badass bitch.
like
I want that WAP."
when you get her and then you get Chelsea being like, oh, that's so brave.
That's
And then you get like Joe Biden saying, you ain't black if you ain't voting for me. And
Right.
his like blackest
Oh, I
voice, he can.
Yeah.
It's just like, do they buy it still? Dude, I mean,
I would hope not. I would hope not. I mean, because it's obvious to me. I don't know. But when you got the whole community telling you, well, because remember who was it? Who's the rapper that was going to vote for Trump, and then Chelsea Handler, is that the comedian? She came out
I think so.
and
yeah.
she's like, "Do you even remember you're a black man?" And I mean, it's like, and he's like, "Oh shit, I almost made that mistake." Right?
Oh, I forgot.
yeah.
All this money made me forget I was actually black. I better.
Yeah. So
better vote for the hot sauce lady and the creepy hair smelling guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's asinine. But so, yes, that does piss me off now that you mentioned it.
And then we got the Russian nuclear potential.
Yeah, which is just stupid.
And then obviously Martha's Vineyard.
Yes, which is also dumb.
Yes.
And Martha's Vineyard reminds me of like so in like the 70s, Steven Spielberg did this comedy called 1941. It's like the only comedy he actually did.
Okay.
And basically somebody sees like some piece of junk in the Pacific Ocean and in the small town in California, and they think it's the Japanese invading. And so like the whole town goes to war. And it ends up being nothing. But anyways, but that's what this whole Martha.
That's how every war we get into starts.
Right.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talk like the ghost ships in Vietnam.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we go to war. So
Yeah.
was it a comedy or was it a documentary? That's a real
Yeah, right.
question. Because
So what we're witnessing is the battle for Martha's Vineyard.
obviously, here it comes. I think the residents would probably lose.
I would say so.
Unless, I mean, they have security guards. I'm sure it's heavily armed.
Oh,
too.
I'm sure. Like you said, the security for the island itself is probably insane.
Yes. That's all we have for this week. It's a ridiculous week.
It
So
is
we got to talk
ridiculous.
about the ridiculous stuff. So make sure you check us out for our main episode tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, just like every Monday night. It's going to be a good one. Don't know what it's going to be about, but obviously it's a good one because it's us and we only deliver the best. So
Yes.
7 p.m. tomorrow night for the live main episode that we're doing. Otherwise, check out the Two Scoops morning show. That's 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. That's hard to say. I don't say a.m. much on the show. 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, if we feel like it. That's me and my brother Dan Smots of the System Is Down podcast. Just bullshitting about whatever we can think of. So make sure you join us for that. That's live as well. Check us out all of our social media. Share us far and wide across the annals of the social medias because we enjoy being across the annals of the media.
Yes, but don't type that in.
What happens if I type across the annals of? I don't want to know what you're going to find.
Yes. I see Hillary showing up in her next interview with corn rolls and like a big gold medallion, and she's going to change her name to some Muslim name.
Oh my God. On that note, have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy it the last few hours that you have. Don't think about any of this stuff ever again because it's just sad.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.